Let's go to Spencer in Fresno, California. What's up, Spencer?
Hey, John. How are you doing?
We're rocking, dude. What are you up to?
Oh, just surviving the heat.
Is it hot there in Fresno?
Oh, it's we're not close to the ocean, so it heats up a lot.
All right. Well, it's beautiful here in Nashville, so haha. Just kidding.
We'll make it over one day.
There you go. Come on over, man. Everyone else in your neighborhood's moved in, so y'all should join. Y'all should join them. So what's up, dude?
Right. My question for you is: I've had a gambling addiction, specifically to sports betting, that's wreaked havoc in my life for years. As I work on overcoming it, I'm struggling to find peace in my life and also to find life fun and enjoyable to live. How am I able to do that?
Oh, man. All right, so you read that question there, right?
I did.
All right, so just speak from your heart. What's been going on in the last few years? How long has this been going on?
Close to about 8 years.
Okay. What's your total loss?
If I'm being honest, I don't know exactly because even as I've tried to go back and look at it, it's from so many different places.
Yes.
But total, my guess is somewhere between 400,000 and 500,000.
Okay. When you say wreaked havoc, besides the financial losses, or what does it cost you?
I think I figured the financial losses have obviously played effects in other places in my life. I think I have seen it more wreak havoc in my ability to wake up and enjoy life every day. And I mean that in the way of just interactions with my wife, interactions with my friends, my ability to want to go do fun things. I feel almost a little bit numb to it, and I think the scariest part to me is as I've come back is learning to. I think I lived so much in the past from my younger self, my high school self, that I just wish that I could go back to a time when I remember times that were so fun living in the moment.
Yeah. How old are you, man?
I'm 25.
25. So some broad, you mind if I teach for just like 30 seconds, then we'll get back to your situation? Because I want to paint a big picture here. Okay.
Absolutely.
The last data point I read was $200 billion in wagers over the last 5 to 6 years. To put that into context, if we spent $40 billion until 2030, that would end global hunger. No more hungry people for $40 billion a year for 7 years. We've spent $200 billion gambling on sports. Or here's an even better one. It would cost about $20 billion to end homelessness in the United States once and for all. 10x we've blown gambling. And here's where it really just makes me sick to my stomach, man. Because I'm heartbroken for you. Because you're an addict, right?
Yeah, I am.
But this is a different kind of addiction. Because if you're a coke addict, you go to jail. Right? If you're a coke addict, at some point it kills you.
Yeah.
But we have the government and educational agencies promoting this as a good thing, a way to help out your community and have a little fun too, because proceeds go to government coffers and it goes to help education. So it's kind of like taking cocaine and fentanyl sales and donating that to the local schools so they can get more Chromebooks or whatever crap. It's just total BS, dude. And it makes me sick. Take me back to how this started, man.
Yeah. I think in the beginning it started, it started in all fun. I was in a really low point in my life.
What happened?
Yeah. I grew up in a really religious family.
Okay.
And great relationship with my family and great relationship with my parents. But I ended up going on a mission with my church. And anyway, I came back earlier than I thought I would.
Did you get in trouble?
And earlier, No, not in trouble, just due to mental health, just with some issues with depression,
Okay.
anxiety, where just my body wasn't functioning
Okay.
like it should be. Anyway, I went home and I just felt a lot of shame and a lot of guilt in my life for not being able to complete that.
Okay.
And
Was that
instead
guilt
of,
and shame reinforced by your parents and friends?
not by my friends. I think over time my parents have learned a little bit more of how to deal with it. But when I came home, I was supposed to be out there for close to 2 years, and I came back after 6 months.
Okay.
And so no one was really expecting it. And my siblings, they all welcomed. And I think my parents, they were just a little bit more like, "What are you doing back?" type thing. And so I think that was hard. And so instead of ever like facing anything, or instead of going out, I just didn't want to leave the house. And I ended up going over to my sister's, who lived in South Carolina. And I stayed with her. And while I was over there, she was just telling me, every Sunday they just bet on a football game while it plays. And I was like, "That's awesome." And they were just betting a couple bucks. And anyway, ever since that day, it became my comfort, and it became the thing I went to every time, because I think I felt very abandoned in that time in my life. So over time, it just became my crutch. And
can I be honest? Can I be honest with you?
Please.
I think you were probably felt abandoned before that. I like to start at a place when I hear somebody say, "I'm really struggling with depression and anxiety. I needed to come home." I like to start from a place that your body was doing exactly what it needed to do to keep you safe. Not that it was malfunctioning or wasn't working as it should. And that would lead me to believe that there was some sort of preparatory challenges. There was some sort of environment that wasn't set up before you left. There wasn't deep anchors and deep roots so that you can go do something really hard, like a 2-year mission at 18 years old. That's tough, man. That's scary. That's isolating. It's all that stuff. And you've got to be anchored into something way bigger than you.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yeah. I mean, it's hard because I feel like I had good support from my family.
Okay.
And I had a really good friend group. I think as growing up, I was always like a really small kid. It wasn't until I turned about 20 that I actually grew. And but I mean, all through, I always felt like I was like the little sibling, even in high school, and even coming out, I was always the guy that looked 6 years younger than he was. And so I don't think I ever really felt like I was a real friend. I always felt like I was the friend's brother.
Okay. So you've always been on the outside looking in, or you always felt like on the outside looking in. And even if people invited you because they liked you, you had another story as to why they weren't really inviting you because they liked you. And you got a brain screaming at you, "Dude, we got to plug in, we got to plug in, we got to plug in." And then you go off to another country, you go off to another state where you know nobody, and they say, "Go get them." Yeah, man. I mean, it's a recipe for anxiety. It's a recipe for a body shutting the system down. And then you come back, and then were you 18 when you came back?
Yeah, I was.
Yeah, and then your sister handed you a double double Jack and Coke and was like, "Hey, we just do this on Sundays." And your body went, "Ah," right?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. What do you do for a living?
I work in sales.
So do you make a whole bunch of money, or have you mortgaged and leveraged your soul?
No, I actually make a really good income.
Okay.
And I think that's the part that is hard is I think sometimes I bang my head against the wall where I'm like, it doesn't really matter what I make because it's just all going down the drain anyway.
I know, but there's listeners that if they gambled $500,000 over 7 years, that would mean they've taken out 2 mortgages and they've stolen money. But if you make $250,000 a year over 7 years, you could blow that kind of money.
Right. No, it's something I'm able to on the financial part. I'll be out of debt here in the next about 2 months.
Okay. Tell me about your marriage, bro.
It's great. My wife's fantastic. I've been only married for 9 months.
Does she know the extent of this?
She has, and I've more not when we first got married. I had brought it up to her, but I think it was hard that I wanted her to pry more than she would. And so it just kind of got left on the doorstep. And I said, hey, I have kind of a problem with this. And, she said, thanks for letting me know, but she never asked any additional questions. Since then, I've realized that if I ever want to make a change in my life, I can't wait for somebody else to come to me.
Well, but hold on.
So
you kind of presented like the bro flex out version. You're right. You've got to be honest about it, right? But
yeah.
You can't white knuckle your way through this.
Yeah.
And you can't over discipline your way through this. And I'm a guy that really preaches discipline because I think in a lot of areas, man, if people would just sleep and they would have great friends and be disciplined about exercise, a lot of their life's problems would shift. This is not one of those moments.
Yeah. I think recently I've realized that a little bit in the past, a little while. And I realized that I'm just so poor with money and where it's going. And so, my wife's just, she doesn't have the same addictions that I do.
Spencer, the way you just said that is like saying, yeah, I just realized that I have a problem with, cocaine and how much of it just gets in my nose.
Yeah.
You are over your head, man. And until you're ready to fully submit, this thing's going to keep growing like a dragon.
Yeah. The first steps I've done is I gave my wife all of my debit and my credit cards, and I gave her everything. And I said, hey, set me up on a couple $100-week budget max just for, food and gas. And then that way, for right now, we can both see the accounts, but I only have access to a couple $100. And
that will work for about 8 weeks for you. Nope, it won't. It will work for about 4 weeks for you.
Yeah. And I think that's the part that I'm nervous about.
I'm telling you right now, Spencer, you are, bro, dude, you are doing everything you can to avoid the reality of this. And that's totally fine. That's totally fine.
So how do I not avoid it?
You sit down and tell your wife, honey, I am a full-blown addict. I haven't been fully honest with you. I cannot control this. I've been gambling for 7 years since I was a kid. I'm struggling with depression. I'm struggling with anxiety. And this is every bit getting drunk every day of my life. Or every bit doing heroin every day of my life. And I've got to start going to GA, Gamblers Anonymous. I got to get a group. And I have to get a sponsor because I'm over my head. And I'm sorry I didn't tell you the truth. That's where you got to start.
Yeah.
Anything short of that, my friend, you're too smart. You make too much money. You're trying to do gentle workarounds with a beautiful wife who doesn't know how bad this is.
Yeah.
Fair?
That's fair. I think that's after a while too. You lie to yourself for so long.
Of course you do. Yeah, man.
And I guess I don't know too, because I've sat down with my wife, and when I basically said, hey, you need to take all the cards away, I told her that I was I'm an addict and I can't control this. But I know, as addicts do, that even in ways that I don't know, if you really want to do it, you'll find a way. You'll find a way.
You've set yourself up to commit a crime. Or you've set yourself up to really violate a core tenet of your marriage, which is we will tell the truth to one another.
Yeah.
Because you've put boundaries in place without dealing with the core issue.
Yeah.
And the core issue, I always look at addiction, any sort of addiction, as whether it's work or whether it's drugs or whether it's gambling or sex, whatever it happens to be, that's relational in origin.
Mm.
And until you deal with that black hole, man, this little kid that doesn't feel like he's enough and feels like he's on the outside and feels like he's a burden and feels like he just has to accomplish and achieve so we can get love around him. And he failed this big accomplishment and achievement that everyone talked about since the day he was born until he was 18. Until you deal with that and the grief around that and the, wait a minute, I don't suck. I'm not a piece of crap. I'm a good man. I work hard. I love my family. Till you deal with those things, brother, nothing's going to taste right.
Yeah.
Of course, you're not going to be able to see a vision of your life with happiness and laughter and joy. I promise you it's there. But you can't end around it. You got to go through it.
How do I, to go back and say, hey, I want to deal with these issues and these core issues from growing up, where would someone like me start?
Gamblers Anonymous. You have to be honest out loud with a group of people who will look square through you, who won't put up with any of you. If you've been gambling like this for this long and you're a world-class salesman, you can tell anybody anything, right?
Yeah.
Yes. You are a wordsmith if there ever was one. You're Shakespeare. And so you've got to sit in a room with people who they will sit back and look at you and you will know that they know. And then you got to be honest. And then you're going to hear a bunch of other stories and you're going to go, whoa, that's me too. And then you're going to have people that you call at 4 a.m. when you can't sleep and you're out of town on a sales thing and you are logging into your computer or picking up your phone and you download those apps. And you got somebody that looks you in the eye and says, I will be here for you 24/7, 365. I love you that much. You call me. And then you're going to get to the core issue of what happens just before you get that impulse to gamble.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what you got to lock in on. That just takes time. There is no way to think your way through it. Because look, dude, you know this is ruining things. You know.
I do know.
There's not a way to think it out. Know. You got to just walk through and face the dragon, and you cannot do that alone. And you especially can't do it with some wife who's 9 months in, who's trying to love you the best she can, but she does not know what she's in for.
Yeah.
Fair?
That's fair.
I haven't met somebody who's a full-blown, over their head into something who has fully laid out everything in front of his wife. I don't know that guy until they're ready to get stone sober. When's the last time you gambled?
About 2 weeks ago.
When's the last time you really gambled?
2 weeks ago.
Like for real though?
That's the last time I did it.
What was it on?
It was on a soccer match.
How much?
It spread out between a few different sites, but it probably would have been about $1,500 total. Okay.
Are you starting to itch now?
It's hard. I've gone in cycles my whole life. When I go too much into debt, then the itch wears down, but as soon as there's money, the itch just skyrockets. And I'm at a point where I'm in debt and I don't have money, and that's when I've basically given everything over. But I think that's, again, what scares me is when money starts flowing.
There you go. Now's the moment.
Yeah.
I had a professor one time. She told me the worst part about counseling is people wait till things are on fire before they go. She said it's like waiting till you get the flu to go to the gym for the first day to start your workout program. That's the worst day. You're sick. The best day to go to the gym is when you feel great. The best time to start going to counseling is when things are awesome and you can actually hear and start practicing things and you're not running for your life. You have a moment where you don't have any money. You're broke. You're in debt. You're in a hole and you're embarrassed and you're ashamed of it. And you're not going to gamble in these moments because your body's Telling you, I mean, you're lucky on that one because I've talked to gamblers who they'll borrow and just borrow until they got to steal and whatever. You're not there for whatever reason. Now is a perfect moment. So before the day is over, brother, before the day is over, you pull out your phone and you find a local Gamblers Anonymous in your area, or a local CA group, or if you have to, and all they have is a local AA group, go there. You have to take a knee in front of a group of men and women who have been there and can see you and say, we know, and we'll walk with you. And then at some point, you're going to have to get with a licensed counselor who knows what they're doing and start to walk back this idea that you somehow don't belong to anybody, anywhere, at any time. Because it's not true. You do. You're one of my friends now. Hang on the line. I'm going to send you a copy of Own Your Past, Change Your Future. We're going to hook you up with that. And then, brother, I will walk with you every step of the way. And here's what that means. That means you go to meetings and you call me in 30 days. I want to hear an update, and I'll be willing to update everybody out there. If you go to meetings every day for the next 30 days, I would love that. I'll also be here if you choose to get off the line and you are about to make the call tonight and you don't make it. It's 6 months when your wife finally finds out how bad this is. I'll be here then too. I'm in the long haul with you. I'll take your call every time you call, man. But you got some hard choices to make ahead of you. And I hope you'll look in the mirror and say, dude, Spencer's worth being well. Spencer's worth being whole. I'll talk to you soon, my brother.